Now we stand in Torah to live our lives, because the Creator of all is by our side. There will be some violence going on in the world, but we have the shield of Israel. Praise Yahuwah, because He is the shield against all human swords. He protects and defends His people from the conquerors. Praise Yah, because He is the shield against all human swords. He protects and defends His people from the conquerors. Even the fathers of this generation cling to Yah, the Almighty. Let all the nations from this generation come to Yah while there's time. Even the fathers of this generation cling to Yah, the Almighty. Let all the nations from this generation come to Yah while there's time. Praise Yahuwah, because He is the shield against all human swords. He protects and defends His people from the conquerors. The Babylonians tried, the Assyrians as well. They won some battles, but not the war. They had weapons that we deserved, but our protection was not made with hands. He was, He is, and He will ever be the shield of Israel for all eternity. Praise Yahuwah, because He is the shield against all human swords. He protects and defends His people from the conquerors. Praise Yah, because He is the shield against all human swords. He protects and defends His people from the conquerors. Now we stand in Torah to live our lives, because the Creator of all is by our side. There will be some violence going on in the world, but we have
Hey, there we are. Shalom, people.
Here we are again.
Yes, shalom.
We keep doing this. We keep popping up on your screen.
Yes, sir. This is the day Yahuwah has made.
What's up, handsome man?
We will rejoice and be glad in it.
That's
Or like
right.
good old RW said, you have no problems, just have faith. Right? Remember that?
Remember that guy?
Yeah, I do.
You don't got no
In
problem.
fact,
All you need is faith in you.
yes. Let me do a couple of quickies here. A couple of quick announcements. It may not be announcements. There may be a little preaching, and then we're going to go to Portal, Arizona, and you're going to bring up and share what the Father has put on your heart, hopefully. Because if the Father hasn't put anything on either of our hearts, guess what?
We're going to go eat.
Dead air. Yeah, really.
I'm right. You're right. Let's go eat.
Exactly. Or dead air. But anyway, we're a little bit early, and so let me share something with you, Peter. I'm releasing this teaching this morning, and I came on it. I promised yesterday in that Facebook clip to release it, and it's. I'm just going to. I'm just going to see if we can get this just disappear. You still hear me, right?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Okay, so just forbear with me. I don't mean to cover us and turn this into a teaching. I know this is a dialogue.
I'm so glad you brought this up, by the way.
Yeah, I know it's a dialogue, and that's what it's going to be. But this is so important for the teaching that I'm going to release this afternoon. It's already recorded in English and Portuguese. I made sure that Yoshi got on board this morning, and I'm going to just share a little tidbit with you so that you can see exactly what is in this groundbreaking teaching. Evidence in the Samaritan Torah. And we'll be releasing this video on all platforms this afternoon. But I just wanted to encourage you to look for it. And so I want to just take a few minutes, and then we'll talk a little bit about the assembly on June. I don't have it in front of me. I believe it's 2nd.
June 2nd.
So, 2nd. Evidence in the Samaritan Torah. All references to Husha appear as Yahusha in the Samaritan Torah, Pentateuch, without exception. There is not a single reference to any name of Joshua ending in Shua. Neither do we find wicked added vowel pointing. First, we see that Yahuwah Aleph Taf warns us about bringing his name or injecting Shua into it. Let's have a quick look. Now, keep in mind that the numbering system in the Samaritan Torah is slightly different than the numbering system in the Masoretic text that most of you are used to. Nevertheless, it literally reads, now hold on to your kippah, hold on to your priestly head covering. All right, ladies, hold on to your kadosh head covering, because it does not say what the Masoretic says. Now remember, they had no motive to change anything because they did not hate the Messiah, and this is way before the Messiah, obviously.
Wow.
You shall not take or bring, and I'm going to show it to you in the Hebrew. You shall not take or bring Yahuwah Aleph Taf's name to Shua, the Hebrew prefix le, to Shua, meaning you shall not attach the true name of Yahuwah Aleph Taf, not just Yahuwah, but the Son, the Word, Aleph Taf. You shall not attach Aleph Taf's name, Yahuwah Aleph Taf, specifically the Memra, the Milta, the Logos. You shall not attach it or tie it to vain, idolatrous emptiness. For Yahuwah will not absolve it. Masoretic says hold guiltless. He will not absolve this practice, but will guard. Now, this is the incredible part. Just like we are to guard the Shabbat, the Hebrew is shomer, Yom HaShabbat lizochro, but will guard and recall the very day in which his name, Aleph Tav, was made or tied to Shua or brought to Shua, le Shua. And let me read that again. This means, in the Hebrew, you shall not attach my name of Yahuwah, Aleph Tav, and attach it or tie it to Shua. You shall not bring it to Shua or le Shua, because I will remember and I will recall and I will guard that day against you. Now, just to make sure that we're not making this thing up here, we're going to go to the Hebrew, the Samaritan Torah in Hebrew. You will notice, of course, that there are no vowels. We don't have to deal with that nonsense. We don't have to deal with an added vav before the ayin. None of those rabbinic tricks, those two tricks, adding vav before the ayin or vowel pointing with the what they call the kuba. Let me just make sure I have it right here. Yeah, but I talk about it in the teaching. It's kubuts. Those three vowel pointings, kubuts, that turn the shin into a shoe. So we don't have those tricks here. Watch. Remember my commandments, lishmori. Remember my mitzvoti, my commandments of Yahuwah your Elohim, Elohayim. Do not take those commandments. Don't forget them. And then he goes, leshua, to nothingness. There's a shua. Le, do not bring it or attach it or tie it to shua. Ki, because lo yinakeh will not absolve or hold guiltless. Lo yinakeh, Yahuwah Aleph Tav. Look at that. In other words, let me just hide this here. Yahuwah Aleph Tav will not absolve what? Bringing his name to Shua. Taking it, it's not associated with, there is no Yahushua. We are not to take Yahusha or Yahu and tie it to Shua. The la prefix is very important. Le Shua, ki lo yinaka, will not absolve Yahuwah Aleph Tav. And Shomer, he will guard and he will observe or record at Yom, the very day, Yud, U, Em Sofit. Here it is. He will remember the very day, Asher, which ye saw, you took action, you brought, you took action, Aleph Tav, the Shmo, the name of Aleph Tav, and you added and you attached it to Shua. Let me say this again. He will remember, just like we are commanded to remember the Shabbat, same word, Shmoret Yom HaShabbat. He will remember the day which you took the name, his name, of Aleph Tav, and you attached it to Shua. Now, when I saw this, Brother Peter, I just about fell off my kitchen stool because I traded in my bar stools years ago. I don't have a bar stool anymore. I mean, if this is not better than breakfast with eggs and turkey bacon, then I don't know what is. So I just wanted to share that. We have 40, 43, 44 minutes of this in the teaching that I'm going to release this afternoon.
I cannot wait.
Amazing. I mean, I thank Yahuwah for the Shomronite Torah that preserved this without vowel pointing, without added vowels. We are to be so grateful. And, it's Of course, they hated the Samaritans, so they didn't take the Samaritan Torah with them, right? When they
Right.
went to Babylon, thank goodness
Right.
they didn't.
Thank goodness they didn't.
They didn't
Right.
take it with them.
So those who were despised and rejected turned out to be.
Yeah, but I mean, think about that. So we're to guard the seventh day. We're not to confuse it with the fourth
That's
day or
right.
attach it
That's
to the
right.
third day. We're supposed to keep it kadosh. Same thing. Yehovah says, and here's the thing, Peter, and I talk about this in the video. Here's the thing. Let me put my punim back up there. Here's the thing. If we get this wrong, and we do that attachment because of our teachers, our pastors, our congregation that is used to saying Yeshua, Yahusha, okay, then we cannot do the first commandment or the second commandment, because the first and second commandment
that was the entire point of the attack. That was the entire point.
The Shema. Hear, O Israel, Yahuwah is one, and you shall love Yahuwah with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. So if you are attaching Yahuwah Aleph Tav to Shua, how do you do the first commandment? How do you love him with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength when you can't get first base? You're literally taking the violation of the third commandment and violating the Shema, the first commandment. And now you cannot love him with all your heart.
Can you bring that back up on the screen while you're talking, though?
Sure.
That one graphic,
I'm done.
please?
No, I'd love to hear what you have to say.
I really need to look at that again, because you point, and I want you to point out the word Shua again. Could you bring it back up, please?
I could try for sure. I can do
the Leshua, please. I really want to see that again. And by the way, side note, I need a full copy of this text, and you know why.
Yes.
So we need to insert it so you know where. Okay.
Of course.
And we don't need to mention right now, but that's a big issue here. So that's beautiful. All right. So let me see. Hold on. Scroll up to Leshua. So I can see that.
I think I know the problem.
Either le or la, either one, whichever one you had.
I'll get the whole thing up there.
I noticed it immediately. Okay. I want you guys to see this. Okay. Because this is exactly the same spelling and as Exodus 20, which people did not receive very well. But I tried to explain to you all. Okay, brother, I think I've seen enough, and hopefully everyone else has. You can pull that down. And I'm looking forward to your 45-minute teaching. I think it warrants 4,500 hours, honestly, because of the gravity of the situation. And I did a graphic on H7723, which is the Hebrew word Shua, which is recorded in the 10 Commandments, that you are never to make his name Shua. Now, they had changed the pronunciation of this word to confuse you, another rabbinical trick. But we have learned Hebrew enough to know the pronunciation of original letters.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a problem for them, because now we know exactly what they did, that they played a word game, a phonetic game, just like the word God.
Yep.
They played a double entendre. They played a game with you, a name game.
Yeah.
And they did it intentionally, because look what they just did. They literally entrapped you without you knowing it. So these are the same people that give you a pretty girl, set her down next to you, and you don't know there's 85 cameras around you. Okay, same people. Exactly same people.
But Yahweh has an answer. Yahweh has an answer to that. He says, I'll remember the day. You're not going to get away with it. I'm going to remember the day.
With that. That's right. That's right. And they're all out in the open now. It's getting worse and worse for those who played these perpetrated these crimes. And so I am very grateful for the remnant that are awake. And again, we do not share these things. Look, we discover with you.
Yeah. We're students.
We wake up with you.
Yeah.
We are upset with you about what we're learning. So don't look at us as if we're coming to tell you all. No, we're looking at it going, do you see what we're seeing here?
Right.
Do you see this? Okay. And so the sound of the letters, the sound that would proceed out of your mouth when he said not to make his name vain, that word vain is Shua, like Apostle is telling you. So when you stand in the Yam, the Hayam, He is Alua Hayam. Everything came from the water. And he's Alua of all of it, of all that is infinitely. And you stand in this court, because that's what it is. It's a court. Why does the angel have to put his foot on land and water? Legal reasons. I can't explain them all to you. Maybe the Sholiach will have mercy on you and explain to you what I'm trying to tell you.
Peter, look at this. Look how the third commandment in the Samaritan Torah. I will guard the day that you tie my name to that shua. Okay.
That's right. Guard the name.
But if you pass the test, now you can go on and guard the Shabbat. Now you can go on and honor your parents. Now you can go on and stay away from a strange woman or a strange man. Now you can go on. But if you do, so here's a challenge to those that are waking up.
So what you're suggesting is that they've skipped over
Big time.
Okay.
But here's the thing. Okay? We get haughty and prideful and say, how come I'm out of the church? I'm not in the church. The Lord done took me out of the church. I'm not at the false altar. Well, that's the good news. Now here's the bad news. There's another system you're going to have to come out of, and they wear tzitzit and kippas. Your coming out days are not over, sweetheart.
No, they set you up. They were waiting for you. They knew you would wake up to the one lie, so they had another bunch waiting for you.
If you're in a place that's doing shua, you're in a place that is violating their commandment, and you mean well. You don't know better.
You mean well. That's the part that makes me angry.
Well, you love Messiah. You love what he did. You love what he did for you, and you don't want to fall into that trap or stay in that trap once we are awake and we can awake you. And like I was saying on that YouTube video, Facebook video, I'm a student. Before I'm an apostle, doctor, lawyer, whatever of Torah. Okay, I'm a student. If I ever stop being a student, would everybody please tune me out? Because that means I'm still stuck in the quicksand of 20 years ago, and I haven't advanced one iota.
That's right. That is correct.
Every time I get together with you, I turn you on. I listen to, and I learn something.
Ditto.
I learn Elohayam. I'm in. What else? What else you got to tell me?
Right. Exactly.
That's my answer. We're students.
Because the deeper
when Yahushua chose his followers, when Yahushua chose his followers, he did not choose one doctor, one lawyer of Torah, one reverend, most holy pai, pipa, pupa, papa. He chose students. And the day Peter and I or anybody else in the fivefold stops being a student, we stop being a disciple. And that also is bad news. And we don't want that.
At the feet of the master. We
don't want
at the feet of the master. He is the master.
Yes, sir.
And he called all these things ahead of time. And when he called me to the Sea of Galilee, and he said, come up to the Galilee, I have something I want to show you. And he put unscheduled blood moons above. I thought I was done, Sholiak. I'd come to 20 years. I thought I was done. And had reasonable reason to think so. After all, a priest is done after 20 years. This is not an unreasonable thing to expect.
Yeah.
But he threw my talit back in my face and said, we have to go gather the remnant. And that's when Remnant House was forged. So when you talk about things like this, about the recovery of these things, and I'm standing looking over the expanse of the Sea of Galilee, the sea, the Yam. So I'm standing there, and he returns me to the place where he originally commissions these apostles, and that wasn't accidental. He brings me back there so that he can do exactly what you said, Sholiak. Say, you need to learn. Thinking you know it all is not good. You need to learn. You don't know anything. 20 years, you don't know anything. That's a slap in the face. And I'm already declaring the name of Yahusha at that point. And then he tells me, in a dream on the sea, on afternoon, I dreamt, I fell asleep in an afternoon, and he used that opportunity to speak to me. And he showed me a scene where I walked up. It was it looked like a scene out of Gladiator, and he was in the middle of fighting and training. I didn't know it was him. I walk up in the stream, and he starts to whoop my butt.
That's the reason I'm laughing. Go ahead. Go ahead.
He kicked my butt from one. I couldn't get on my feet. He would knock me back down. I couldn't get my bearing. 23-1, I think he said, or 23-0. And he said, and I said, I want to see the captain of the host. And he spun and he said, I am the captain of the host.
Wow.
Well, that was about the most humiliating moment of my life. And then he says, Peter, your enemy will not fight fair. You must always be prepared.
Yeah.
End of lesson. End of lesson. Never will forget it.
Yeah, but it was a life-changing event, and there's nothing like personal experience. There's nothing.
That's right. That's right. So when you talk about the Shua,
we can read Bible verses all we want. Okay, when you've been through the light and you're walking in the light, and the light comes to visit you, the day spring from on high comes to visit you. Well, guess what? You've got a powerful. There's nothing like a personalized, powerful testimony. There's nothing like it.
No. Which is going to segue into some of our conversation, but I just really feel impressed to share with you all on this point of the Shua element that our brother so powerfully brought up. And again, I say this in love for all of you, because we've all been through this process of discovery, of learning, of being fed answers that somebody came along and said, oh, here it is. And you're like, okay. And next thing you know, it's coming out of our mouth.
We're never bothering to stop and question it.
And then when we did finally start questioning some things, we were like, oh my goodness, what did you trick me into saying? It's like the guy who gives you wrong Spanish words and tells you to go tell your grandmother, some horrible thing in Spanish, which they do, by the way. They think it's funny to tell your grandmother that she's a monkey or something, right? And so then you go and you say it, and you don't realize what you said. And your grandmother or whoever looks at you like you're crazy. Like, why would you say such a thing? And well, he told me to, and they're laughing over there. They're smirking at you, right? Because they set you up to go in there and say something dumb in a different language that you don't really know. Okay? Do you think maybe you felt like that a time or two? Well, I hope you will stop now and say, hold on a second. If that's true, if the Sholiach and the Sholakim, I don't know how you say that. Shlachim are correct. Houston, we got ourselves a Katy Perry level of a problem here, and we better. That's bigger than a capsule that has no controls. We better.
That's right.
We better get to the bottom of this mystery, right?
And look how much he loves. Look how much he loves the people of Yahuwah. That before time winds up, he sends us messengers to share this. Okay, right? We are there not to castigate you or to criticize you or to get into linguistics. Let me emphasize that this is not about our linguistics are better than yours or our linguistics are more studied than yours.
There it is.
No. This is Yahuwah's grace to everyone in the Yeshua movement, that you're breaking the Father's heart. You're hurting yourself vis-a-vis the first commandment. You're hurting yourself vis-a-vis the fourth commandment. What good is Shabbat when you're attaching the cursed thing, the devil's language, to the Kadosh name? I mean, so that he loved us enough to reveal this to us, right? This is not about my linguistics are better than you are. I know more Hebrew than you do. You don't need to know any Hebrew to wake up. You don't need to know any Hebrew to wake up.
Yeah, and by the way, you need to really be careful with anyone who has a mocking spirit. So I can understand if someone says, hey, I'm going to look into this, or I'm going to be, I'm going to dig a little further. You've brought up the Samaritan text. You've brought up the Dead Sea Scrolls. You brought up other things. I'm going to go look. I have zero problem with that person. They do
Correct.
not have to agree with me. They don't have to agree with Sholiak. They don't have to agree with anything. But the fact that they're coming respectfully to say,
Correct.
listen, I don't know what you guys know. You guys are, this is all you do. This is where you spend all your time. So I have to show respect that you probably know what you're talking about, but I don't know yet. I'm going to go check. I got no problem with that guy. None. Zero. The problem I have is with the people that'll go, oh, you know, Yeshua, Yahusha, Yabusha, Labusha. Now we don't know which one it is. I'm just going to say Jesus. Okay.
Yeah, but look
My
how slick the rabbis are and the Pharisees. They didn't attach the Shua. They didn't attach the Shua to the Father's name, right?
No,
Because
they
they
did not.
knew the Father's name is Kadosh. So, in other words, their agenda was to pollute the name of the bastard child, who they refer to as the bastard child, and we know him as the precious Holy One of Israel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they knew the Messiah's true name, or they wouldn't have bothered attaching the Shua to it. Let me say that again.
Mm-hmm.
They knew the Messiah's name, but in order for you not to know it, and not to know the Lamb, and not to know salvation, and not to know deliverance, they took the Shua that Yahweh says don't attach to my name, and they didn't. To this day, they say Hashem. They don't say Shua. They didn't attach it to his name, but Yahuwah slicked them out because they did attach it to Yahuwah Aleph Taf, who is Yahusha.
That's right.
They did.
And and not only that, but one could argue that he is, in essence, he's connected to the altar. You cannot separate Mashiach, the high priest, from the altar to which he attends. What we do here on the earth is but a reflection of what his continuous ministry is in the heavens. Selah. That being said, you said the key word, pollute. The word is pollute. Please meditate, folks, on that word. The apostle does not share things lightly. Please show respect for what he has shared with you, because the word pollute is precisely the correct word. And the reason why it is important that you understand specifically to show yourself approved is because this word is used in Exodus 20 concerning the altar. And it is a very, very serious thing to be polluted. It is not a light matter. Why would there be a warning against something that's no big deal? There's just no sense to it. And so now the altar having been polluted by the very same people, and the name being polluted by, again, same people, you also have polluted waters, polluted hayam. And that when you get into that water, they want you to say the word Shua, so that if there was any berakah that was going to be on it, you've just now cursed the waters, or, as the Sholiak has stated, you have polluted them. Polluted them. So again, we don't do these things to debate. Debate is the result of the reprobate mind. So debate is useless to us. We fact find, we check, we double check. And the reason why is because we're looking for the preponderance of evidence that indicates to us the correct direction. And those who care enough, who love enough, who are sincere, pursue these things. Those who are, again, spiritual gold diggers, who are not really interested in relationship or authenticity, they're only interested in the lowest possible entry point. And that is indicative of, in fact, the people that have a judgment coming. Depart from me, you worker of iniquity, I never knew you. For those who are truly passionate about their love for Mashiach, and I don't care where you are now, you could think his name is something, I don't care. If you genuinely have love for Mashiach, and it's genuine, all of us have come from some form of error. All of us, and we're still passing through. So it doesn't negate you. And this is something that we have to say to the Christian community, to the believers out there who love Messiah. We have no right to be judgmental toward you,
Just share.
nor to be dictatorial to you in any way. We are simply trying to tell you that we were all deceived.
We're sharing what the Master showed us.
Very clever, demonic, evil, satanic people that got together and plotted.
Yeah.
For over a long period of time, Sholiak, they plotted literally to take your power away.
But by adding the Shua to the son, they acknowledge that that's the true name. They don't want people to know it, so they put the Shua instead of the Shah, which is proof they were hiding something. Why? Because they say, "Oh, we're not doing it to the Father. We're just calling him Hashem. We would never violate the third commandment and put Shua." But Yahuwah said, "Not so fast. You shall not take the name of Yahuwah Aleph Tav." Hello, right? So Yahuwah caught them in their own what? In their own
Craftiness. That's right.
craftiness, right?
Cunning. What did he warn us of? Why did he send the fivefold? He
Mm,
says it exactly why in
mm-hmm,
Ephesians chapter 4.
mm-hmm.
Because of the cunning craftiness whereby men lie in wait to
Wait to
deceive.
deceive.
But he knew that he would put into certain people almost a DNA requirement. They couldn't stop themselves until they got to the bottom of these deceptions, and then ran out to tell all of you with the sincerity of heart, with no profit motive, with no other motives other than the pure desire to be a berakah
Let me let
unto
me
your
let,
brethren.
let me give you another quick example, and then we'll talk about the assembly. I'll let you talk about it so I can save my beautiful soprano voice for later. Um, Let me give you another example of the purity of the Samaritan Torah. Okay, of course,
Mm,
the Jews referred to them as gangsters and idolaters because they hated them, but they never went through those modifications and those changes and those redactions that we find among the sons of darkness. And they didn't even attempt to do the Tanakh, the Old Testament. They just stuck to the Torah, so they were pure. They didn't want it changed, so they said, "Listen, let's focus on guarding these 5 books." Let me give you another example. In
Hold on a
Exodus,
second. Before you say that, just for the audience out there,
yeah,
for those of you that are a little older, I just want to remind you of Avis. Okay, Avis was number 2, but they tried harder.
yeah,
Sometimes the people that are rejected have
yeah,
something to prove.
yeah.
They will preserve even better than the people that rejected them.
That's a good analogy until they ran into O.J. Simpson. But anyway, or
No,
O.J.
he was
Simpson
hurt.
ran in.
He was hurt. He
He
was
was
hurt.
hurt. Oh, good analogy. Good analogy.
Yeah,
Okay,
he was with the
so,
other guys.
right, right. So in listen in the Shomronite Torah, that very controversial. Give you an example. The very controversial episode when Sarah, Zipporah says to Moshe, "You're a bloody man. You didn't circumcise your son. You're not a good priest. What kind of Elohayim are you listening to? You're on drugs," right? So she took the stone and she did the circumcision. Now, that never made sense to me. Why would a man who is listening to Yahuwah's voice ignore that commandment, right?
Right.
So in the Samaritan Torah it says your presence as a prophet has brought the blood of the covenant to me because of my uncircumcised heart. So her heart was uncircumcised. His presence as the deliverer, not just her husband. His presence as the deliverer convicted her heart and said, You are a bloody man. You brought the blood of the lamb to me. You're going to bring the blood of the lamb to me. You are a bloody man. Forgive me for the uncircumcision of my heart." And that day she circumcised her heart before Moses and before Yahuwah. That's what it says in the Samaritan Torah. Is that a little different?
I think this is a perfect segue to say one of the challenges that you're going to have, my brothers and sisters out there, is if you're trying to defend your own reputation, that represents. And when Apostle asked me, "What do you want to talk about today?" What word came to me? I always wait. I don't ever just. I just don't know. I don't know what's going on because I just woke up. What do I know? How do I know what he wants?
Me
What a
three.
I have no idea. Then as I'm going, he just puts it right there. Become of no reputation. You see, if you're trying to defend a reputation, if you're
Yeah.
trying to defend your persona, if you're trying to defend your pulpit, if you're trying, I'm talking to you, preacher. Yeah, I'm
Yep.
talking to you.
Yep. Yep.
If you're
Yep.
trying to defend your pulpit, you're going to stand up there and you're going to say things that are going to be shua or vain.
Yeah.
Okay. Versus becoming of no reputation.
Yeah. And didn't Sarah become of no reputation? She said, "Forgive my uncircumcised heart.
You mean Zipporah?
You are
Yes.
you are a bloody man to me." That's not a negative thing. In other words, you're bringing the blood of Elohim to me.
Right. Now, is
So
everybody that way? No. Did we need a Moses?
she made herself of no reputation. That's my
Okay.
point.
But did we need a Moses is my question. To add to what you're saying. You're absolutely right.
She needed a Moses.
We all needed a Moses. Okay. We still to this day refer back to Moshe. That man gave his life. We have to respect it. To this day, we say his name with honor and with
That's
respect.
right. Yeah.
To this day. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
When people are chosen like that and they give their lives like that and they are dedicated like that, you respect it. Whether you agree with, this decision or that decision or this thing or that thing, you can throw all that away right now when you're talking about something of that level.
But his wife woke up because he made himself of no reputation, and his wife woke up. This is not about you forgot to circumcise your son. Peter, Apostle Peter, that never made any sense. That never made any sense. He would forget to circumcise his own son. Are you kidding me?
Who would love you enough to pull aside his own time, reputation, everything, risk, you hate your hatred, all to come out here and tell, oh, goodness, I don't even want to know how many you might have just upset, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
To say, I'm sorry, I have to share this Shua thing with you. Okay, I'm sorry, but how many people have the courage to do that and do it correctly? This is why we have to have great appreciation from when Yahuwah is doing something special.
Yes, absolutely.
And we have to respect the moment as well as the message.
Absolutely.
Respect the moment as well as the message. And this is a moment, ladies and gentlemen. You're witnessing a moment, a visitation, a very special visitation. It's a preparatory special visitation.
I believe that, yeah.
That Yahuwah by his Ruach is doing. Are you listening to me, my friends? To get you ready. Yeah. Why do you put a voice in the wilderness to cry, prepare you the way of Yahuwah?
We're no reputation students is what we are.
He does these things for a reason. It's not incidental.
When Apostle Peter stops being a student and studying the word and trying to and saying, Yahuwah, I don't know it all, I'm going to stop listening to him.
That's right.
We're students. That's a prerequisite to be a leader. You got to be a student and know it and stay in that calling. If we had stopped being students, we wouldn't have awoke the way Yahuwah awoke us.
You can always tell, too.
All glory to him. All honor to him, right? Some of you are saying, well, I said Yeshua, and the place is right around the corner. So you're asking me to leave the place? Listen, dude, who do you think you are? This place is right around the corner, and we say Yeshua. He knows my heart. He went out of his way to give you a third commandment that we brought to your attention in the original Hebrew. Mm-hmm. If it wasn't important to him,
he would
dismiss your heart. See, Sarah, let's get back to Sarah. Sarah said, Moshe, you're my husband, and you leave your dirty laundry all over the tent.
Come on, man.
But I honor you. I respect you. You are the man to bring me. You're a bloody man. So in Judaism, they want us to believe in the Masoretic text. Oh, you're a bloody man. Don't tell me what to do. Women's liberation. Just the opposite. She says, look, did Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob precede
Moses? That changes the whole story, by the way.
Abraham,
Isaac, and Jacob, thing.
Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob before or after Moses? Before. Didn't Yahushua say circumcision is not of Moses? Didn't Yahushua say circumcision is of the what? Fathers? Didn't he say that? So how is Moses going to keep the Torah and teach Israel Brit Milah? Okay, when he didn't even Brit Milah his own son? What's the point? The point is the Samaritan Torah has a lot to share. And the Jews, in order to control you and to manipulate you and to keep you under their authority, say, pagan, pagan. It's like the Book of Mormon. Oh, if you read the Samaritan Torah, you might as well read the Book of Mormon. And those are the voices of Satan. When the purest 5 books we have is right there. Those people still kill the lamb. Those people still keep the feasts. Those people didn't add vow pointings.
That's right.
Who are you going to believe? Who are you going to believe?
I want to put this on the screen if you'll pop it up there.
Sure.
This is a graphic which discusses the name in your water baptism.
We're okay. Make it bigger.
Okay. No, this is good. This is good.
All right.
The name used in your water baptism matters. Why? Because again, as we've told you, he's Eloah Hayam. You have gotten into the water. You came into the court. You're about to make a declaration. You're about to make a statement. How many know what you say can and will be used against you in the court of law? Okay? If you need an attorney, you might want to get one because you might say something dumb. This is why you need the fivefold. Okay? This is why you needed us. He said it specifically. And Paul was keenly aware because he knew how cunning these men would be. The name used in your water baptism, madam, the baptismal name of this thing here, I don't even want to begin to tell you how badly you screwed up if you did this. Okay? But this is the names that people use when they think they're moving in the right direction. So you've got Yeshua, which means his name be blotted out, vain, or cry out. Yahshua, Yah, make me vain. You're asking him to make you vain. Yahushua, make me vain or cry out. Yahuwah, make me vain or cry out. Doesn't matter how you do this. But I say unto you that every idle word, how many? Every. What part of every did we miss? Idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment. Account doesn't sound like the grace you hear preached, okay? So Yahusha, Yahuwah, is my salvation, or the way I like to say it is, it's a petition. Yahuwah, please save me. You are asking when you step into the water for him to save you.
Hallelujah. Beautiful.
Now, if you don't understand the importance of this, if you don't understand the spiritual significance, if you don't understand, that's okay. You can take this off the screen now. I think everyone's got it. If you don't have an understanding of the spiritual significance of this conflict that we find ourselves in, then either you are deliberately naive or intentionally so. If you actually do not realize that Messiah's words concerning the Pharisees, that they would go over hill and dale to make twice the servant of hell as themselves by simply blocking the way, then you have missed the entirety of the message. You didn't catch that you had to walk through a group of detractors and mockers just to get in the Jordan River. You had to be willing to go past them, become of no reputation. You had to be willing for them to literally persecute you. If you switch to believing in Yahusha, in certain communities, you just decided you wanted to be broke, you wanted to have no future, you wanted to have no family, they would cut you off in every way. So when you talk about becoming of no reputation, this is not just people not liking you anymore. This is literally wishing you homeless. And you have to be willing to embrace that in order to come into the kingdom.
Absolutely. That's beautiful.
So this whole Billy Graham, just sign a card, this whole these machinations that have been thrown at you all to give you the impression, to give you some kind of gospel light without the actual changing into a different nation, royal priesthood, a holy, a kadosh nation. So you didn't actually join the nation. You just wanted to come to get the ice cream. You didn't actually become, let me give it to you in a way Americans can take it. You didn't actually become an American citizen. You just want Social Security benefits.
Yeah.
Are you with me now? Can you hear me now? Okay. So yeah, you're going to ask them to you're going to ask the kingdom to take care of you, but you were never a participant.
Right. But look at the language, Pete.
Worse yet, you were a thief.
Look at the language. I will, if you don't take this seriously, and then this is what you're saying, and I
Yes.
can't say it as good as you, but I'll try.
Oh.
That if you don't receive this, if you don't if you don't at least try, and you stay in Shua, I will remember the day and hold it against you. The same way you are required to remember the Shabbat, I'll remember the day you heard but did not hear. You heard, you listened, but you did not hear. I'll remember that day. Now we're not making that up. I showed you the word yom.
Yep.
So that's what Peter is saying. What I'm saying is that, okay, we listened. Now we're going to study the matter, and then we're going to hear, because not everybody with hears. These are two hears. EARS. These are two hears, but they're not always used for hearing. They're used for listening. Right? You know that.
Listening for what you should hear.
Yep.
Point of listening is to be continuously awake. Hearing is to direct to what you should pay attention to.
Yeah.
So there's a difference between listening and hearing. So some people say, "Oh, I'm listening." Well, that's good. So is Amazon Echo.
Alexa.
So is Alexa. She's listening, waiting for a command, waiting for something to be said that activates. Right. So that's what listening is. I'm waiting in this
But
state of
before we give Alexa a bad rap, at least she follows through on the command.
listen.
Sometimes we listen and we don't follow through and we don't take action. In
Let
other
me
words,
tell you something.
the life of a disciple is an action. It's a
This
life of
whole
action.
AI thing is going to backfire on them so
Right,
hardcore
but you
and so
take
bad.
right, but you take action, right, Peter? In other words, the life of a disciple is to receive the teachings of the risen master so we can take action. You never stop taking action. When you hear something and say, "Oh my gosh, I'm in a Shua cult." This is a cult. How do you say it's a cult? Because you don't agree with me? No, because the rabbis invented it. The
Right.
Pharisees invented it.
Anything
That puts you in a
invented.
cult.
Oh, there you go.
That
Look,
puts
look,
you in
look.
a
Come on.
cult.
Come on, man. You got guys out there, "Oh, I've been at this 30 years, and they're still walking around in deception. You got another guy that I just saw. I couldn't believe it. I don't know his name. He just stood up he was attacking MAGA. That was his thing. He's going to attack MAGA. Okay. Called himself, what was it? The gangster prophet or something like that. I don't know. I don't know why you would put the word gangster with the word that's kadosh, prophet. I don't know why, but okay. So you're the gangster prophet and you're standing in front of a 4-step violation of Exodus 20 with a bunch of idols up on the top. But you are who we should listen to tell us about MAGA. You got the blind leading the blind.
Right. Now, a Navi, a true spirit filled, fire baptized, spirit baptized, water
Right.
baptized, can tell you and speak into and say, "Listen, let me tell you what this means," but not somebody who's like you said. But again, please, we're not making a big deal out of this. This is a rescue operation. The
That's right.
Father revealed this to us to rescue us. Now, again, if you believe what the Pharisees, who are not messianic, they don't love the Messiah like you do.
That's
If
right.
you continue to follow them, they have established a cult. Okay? And they want to put you in that cult to obfuscate the truth of
Bang.
And if his name is not important, why does he make it the third commandment? Which, by the way, will infect the first commandment. If you do not humble yourself under the mighty hand of Yahuwah, that he may exalt you in due season. This is the season. Then you will violate and pollute the first commandment, which you claim to uphold. Hear, O Israel, Shema Yisrael, Yahuwah Allah Eloheinu, Yahuwah Echad. ואהבת את יהוה אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. You shall love him with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, except with your heart, because your heart is now detached from your hearing.
Bingo.
So it is important because it's going to affect your first commandment relationship with the Father.
People do not recognize Satanism and the worship of the devil for what it is. They do not recognize demonic worship. They think that syncretism is just a person with an error, or that the Pharisees were just some misguided souls who just were a little zealous and just went the wrong way. No, let me be clear. These are adrenochrome blood drinking, demon infesting witches and warlocks. Their entire intention is to get you demonized, which they control. It is the error of Balaam. It is what's been taught to leaders and governors and kings going back before the flood. You got to get your people in gross sin. By putting them in gross, mechanized sin, like everybody's on it, you control them all because they're all cursed. You all who are now coming out of the curse, you refuse to touch the accursed thing, you bring it to the altar. Kaboom! You've just activated the highest counteracting power to all of their witchcraft.
Yeah. What is the Greek word for seed?
I don't know. What is the Greek word for
sperma?
Seed? Oh, yes, sperma.
So when he's talking about the seed of the serpent,
right?
Or the seed of Satan, the word is sperma. Ladies, I want you to educate your men about this because some of them are a little stupid in the head. Tell me if that's a spiritual term or a physical term. I think the ladies can help us out with that. Okay.
That's exactly right.
Term. The Pharisees were not just
descendants.
The Pharisees were not just religious people who got sidetracked. Oh, let's pray for. They just got sidetracked. No, exactly what Apostle Peter was saying. When I heard him say this, I go, again, here comes the man in the rocking chair. Now, wait a second. You're going to tell me people that are 4'4" that are wearing a talit are Nephilim? That's exactly what I'm telling you, Moshe. Yeah. And you got to listen to what I'm saying. So,
this is shout out to Rivka. And I say this in love to all of you. I am going to do a special broadcast because I was specifically requested, and I don't want to give an ounce of old information, so I'm going to redo it just for them, and I'm going to talk about just the Nephilim, and I'll share what I've learned and share what we put together, and then you guys can look at it. But we're going to talk about the Nephilim. We're going to talk about how that they morphed into the people, quote unquote, that you see today. In fact, if you took a thermal imaging photograph, okay, if you were able to take infrared photographs, you would be able to detect them because they don't emanate even remotely. Their seed is different. Wow. Their DNA is different. They emanate blue versus red to you. Wow. Okay.
So let's clarify. Who's they? Is it
the Nephal? These are people.
Are they in the 12 tribes, or have they infiltrated?
Absolutely
all 12
not.
Tribes, or only the house?
Absolutely of not. The only reason, folks, that you didn't know which one, none of the apostles knew who was the Nephilim in their midst. The only reason why they didn't know that Judas the Nephilim was there in their midst, because Yahusha did not say he had a devil; he said he was a devil.
True.
Is because Yahusha loved so beautifully, you couldn't tell who his enemies were. Selah.
Wow. So he put a Nephal at the table.
Yes, sir. and he put him in charge of the money.
And then Nephal eats matzah.
Yes. So the religious activity, they love religious activity, by the way. The Nephilim are literally religious fanatics.
There you go.
Let me just say this really clearly, okay? The Nephilim are religious fanatics. They are the people that will be like, we must walk 4 steps this way and then 3 steps this way. And oh no, they are fanatics for this because they are just they went crazy trying to figure out how to come to get back. Their petition being rejected by Enoch sent them into a perpetual spiral downward because they had presumed upon Father's grace. This is why I need to teach about this.
Can I show you something the Nephilim did? It's the same concept. Let me see if I can get it up on the screen. It's the same concept. Give me a second here. Okay, watch this. So remember I was telling you before, there's nothing as effective as personal, like your personal, and remind me to tell you something about that too, your personal experience with Yahuwah. So this here, of course, is what's known as the Tetragrammaton, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when Moshe went to the Pharisaic school, because my father sent me to a Pharisaic school to learn Talmudic Judaism, which I had to unlearn. And
Poor guy.
those of you who accuse me of Talmudism because you found one footnote in a past RST&E about Metatron, you just show that you're ignorant and you believe an evil report, because Metatron is also an Aramaic word that's in the scriptures that means guardian of Israel. But we won't get into that. Okay, so
That explains why you needed
let
an
me
extra
let
10
me
years.
let me again say for the record, I reject the Talmud. I reject the Kabbalah. It's witchcraft. It's not for human consumption. But there are interchanging words that were
Yes.
borrowed from Torah. So let me move on. So here we have Yahweh, obviously, Yud Hey Uhe. So when I went to school, this is from I went to Brandeis Hebrew School in Lawrence, Long Island. From the age of approximately 7 through high school, I graduated. Whenever and Apostle Peter, the first time this happened, I knew something was wrong. I was a young child of 8 years old, but in my ruach, I didn't have the ruach, I didn't have Yehusha, but something inside of me that the Father breathed into me in the womb jumped, and I said, "This is BS." No, when the teacher said, "Moshe," and he said, "Now it's your turn to read." So Moshe started reading, and I said, phonetically, I started doing phonetics. Yava. Yava. She came to my desk. She took a ruler and she smashed it on the desk. I don't know. I don't recall if she hit my hand or not. She may have. I don't recall. And she said, "You never say that. Whenever you see these 4 letters, because you see the vowel pointing underneath, you say either Yahovah or you'd say Adonai. And it's better for you to say Adonai." So whenever you don't ever do that again in this class or in this school, because you will be thrown out. You will be dismissed from this school.
Are you
So
guys listening to this?
whenever you see this, as Yahuwah lives, I'm telling you the truth. As Yahuwah lives, when you see these 4 letters, you are to pronounce the word Adonai. Enough said. Crazy.
Right on the back of my talit. I remember because I had to interpret it, and I was like, I was looking at the inscription, because a lot of talits say the same thing. Let me see if I remember. Baruch haba b'Hashem Yahuwah. No. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kadeshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzavanu lahitateh batitzit.
Lehitatef batitzit.
Lahitateh batitzit, right?
Right.
And so, but I remember I had to change it because it was Adonai when I learned it. And I was like, no. It doesn't say that. That's not what it says. It says Yahuwah. So I said, Baruch atah Yahuwah Eloah hayam melech, haolam asher kadeshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzavanu lahitateh batitzit. And I said it this way because that's what I read.
There you go.
But if I had gone to a rabbinical school, I would have been slapped with a ruler. And I'll slap you right back with a 12-stone altar. Bunch of
That's good.
crazy
This makes this the best episode. Just that punchline right there makes this the best episode.
My poor brother had to go. No wonder,
Oh, he totally go hey with
he's
that.
been at it 40 years. I've been at it 30 years. You know why he needed the extra 10 years? Rabbinical school. That's why.
Oh my word, that was
The
funny.
poor guy.
Now
They
you
put him
listen,
through the
Mr.
ring.
Nafal. Mr. Nafal, if you don't behave yourself, I'm gonna hit you over
Ka-tang!
your ugly head with a 12-stone old.
Oh my goodness. And by the way, AI
Um,
is my buddy. You know, I want to tell you something. You know, never be afraid of the technology. They ain't never ruling the world with nothing. Okay. Just so you know, we own everything. We control everything. You run like a little scared puppy dog, and you'll run from television 1960s such that they'll own it by the time you guys figure it out. You
That's a
run
good
from
point.
these things,
That's a good point.
internet, and the
Yeah,
next thing you know, they got it covered in porn. You run from
that's
these
a good
things,
point.
YouTube, and next thing you know, it's covered in nonsense. You run from these things,
Yeah,
cryptocurrency, and
yeah.
the next thing you know, somebody else is running. You keep running from
That's a
stuff,
good
you bunch
point.
of
You
scaredy
use
cats,
it. You
you
use it.
bunch of cowards.
You don't marry it. You use
Yeah.
it.
And I want to tell you something about AI. Okay. AI, if you can control it, and that's a challenge. So we have tools to help you with that. But one thing is, it's an excellent reviewer. Excellent. Absolutely impeccable. And you know, it took the time, Moshe, to evaluate the claims of New Kingdom and the claims of Remnant House. And I would be very happy to see your reaction to that report.
So you
I
have it.
dare people to ask Google DeepSeek, or Google Gemini rather. Go ahead and ask it, since it does better searching than you. Tell me, has anyone else done this in 500 years? Wake up.
What exactly?
Wake up.
What exactly would come up?
That the ministry, the apostolic ministry of Remnant House and New Kingdom, and now Sholiak Moshe joining together with us, is unprecedented.
Wow.
The end. Unprecedented.
And how did that happen?
The Ruach.
So in other words, Martinez doesn't have a button where he can get into Google and change numbers on YouTube and spit out the mouth of AI, whatever Portal Arizona wants it to. You don't.
Nope.
You don't have that ability.
Nope.
Do you know
As a matter of fact, it did such a review of my life. It went back before my birth. And it cataloged it all the way till the present.
Mm-hmm.
And it came up with 100 responses to anyone who would accuse me of doing this for money.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. And it literally ripped anyone who would accuse me of doing this for money. I have a whole document that the AI put together going, yeah, I don't know how you came up with that.
But
and
there are biasos on the internet that believe that you are so omnipotent, Peter, Apostle Peter, that you change the numbers on YouTube videos, you change the numbers on PayPal. I mean, you're a powerful dude.
Man, you would think I'd be more afraid of me.
You are one omnipotent God, God forbid. I mean,
let me see if you really believed I had that kind of skill set, wouldn't you want to be my friend? I don't know that you want to be my enemy.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you'd want to be my friend more than anything, right?
Exactly.
Oh my goodness, right? But you think about that. I've been accused literally of tapping people's phones. That people literally thought that I spent half my day. I don't know. I guess they're so hubristic that I spent my day listening to their conversations just so I could say something that would be sort of relevant and look all cooler. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? So one thing I love about AI is it tracks my time, and it does evaluations weekly of my time. I make it do that so that
before
it has an opportunity to tell you if you ever wanted to know what I do with my time, you could ask it.
Ask AI, right?
Yeah, it'll tell you exactly where I spend my time, and you'll be embarrassed.
Can I confess something to this AI business? Okay, whenever I have like a plate in my head, like a metaphoric plate, right? And whenever, because I'm from South Florida, and we have A1A running. People in South Florida will appreciate this. A1A runs all the way from Georgia to to the Homestead area and the Keys. So it's like I think whenever I hear AI, I think of A1, like I think of the highways. So please pray that this metal plate. Speaking of metal plates, I want to piggyback. Excuse me. I want to kosher meat back on top of something that you said, and then please, let's talk a little bit about the assembly. So when you said you were fighting, and I don't have the exact words, but you were in Galilee, you were in Israel, and
Yes.
you were fighting the forces, and what you related earlier, right? Kind of like what you
Mhm.
related, that
Mhm.
you were going to be in a warfare, and you were in a war. So I had something similar as a child. This is not the Jewish school experience. I had something similar in a dream, and I don't put much stock in dreams. Like Sirach warns us, do not trust in dreams, verify
Right.
them with the word of Yahuwah. You can
Right.
receive dreams, but you need to verify it with the principles in the word of
Right.
Yahuwah. Okay? Not
Right.
literally, but the principles. Can I find this principle, this dream? Can I find this principle in the word of Yahuwah?
That's
So
right.
I had the weirdest dream, Peter, and I want to confess. So with or without a screen, I'm going to
Mm.
confess. Okay. So here's God. I knew him as God, of course. He's the father, right? This is the stupidest thing I've ever heard, I kind of understood it 40 years later. He's
Right.
wearing one of these polo shirts with the stripes, right? Brown, white, green. Like it was like a polo shirt with stripes, right? And he's got this big sword, and I'm wearing the same shirt and the same outfit, and we're having an old fashioned sword duel, right? And just as he's about to kill me, I wake up, obviously, right? Because you can't see yourself dead. And I said, this is stupid. Since when does God wear a T-shirt? Since when does Yahuwah put on the same shirt that I'm wearing? This is asinine, right? But you know what I'm going to say next, because you got the interpretation of the vision, right? Your life, your life is dead and hidden, Messiah boy, and you're going to have a new road, the Damascus road, and I'll meet you there one day. Come on,
That's
right?
right. That's right.
Man, I'll tell you, that was my own little.
And so what's he doing? He's informing you in advance. He's calling the end from the beginning, Isaiah 46:10.
Yeah,
He's letting you know beforehand what is coming your way. And he's honoring you. And this is the thing that I just, when you consider that he who made all things actually stops to come to talk to you,
yeah,
and the absence of respect we seem to have for that is so telling. And so this is what makes me so grateful for and so impacted by the remnant, the
yes.
authentic. And they're not a very large number. I don't care how many show up at a broadcast. And yeah, we can boost the broadcast. Sorry, I hate to tell you, you can literally control that mechanism. Yes, it's available for anyone, by the way, because the fact is that it's a matter. It's a system. Anytime there's a system, it can be manipulated. Okay, and so yes, you can actually promote. One of the things that we have to do as a channel, because we did not agree to monetize you all. So Google gives you bothers you, drives you crazy. They canceled the channel. I had 30,000 subscribers because I refused to sign their
Me,
monetization agreement.
I didn't sign it.
They kept sending it to me and sending it to me because of the number of views that my videos got. And they were trying to tell me how much money they would pay me
Hmm.
and how much money it would, you could have all of this. And I was saying, no, I don't want it. I don't want it. And I kept saying no. And so to this day, no. Well, they punish you for not saying yes. You understand? They punish you.
Oh yeah.
So your channel isn't going anywhere. So if you want your channel to go anywhere on their system, you better promote it. You better go out there and you better do other things because they ain't going to do it. However, there are channels that they pay to create controversy who will use the names of Yahuwah's anointed for no other reason than to draw a crowd. And do you want to know why? Because they're so concerned about you being deceived or concerned about you as a believer? No, because using our names or the names of others in a video or something draws a crowd and they get paid. So they're paid to cause the controversy. They're paid to cause the drama and they get promoted by YouTube to do it. So when they
Correct.
get huge numbers, it's because YouTube is monetizing. It's not because they're so popular. It's because YouTube is monetizing them and using them as a bait to
Yeah.
pull the Christians into a room where they can market them. So essentially, what this channel is doing, who signed up with Google, is they've decided to become human traffickers. May as well just have an OnlyFans account, as far as I'm concerned. And so they are reprehensible. To sell your brethren for a bowl of porridge, thou art rebuked.
That's right. Very well put. By the way, so when I saw that dream that I just told you about, that made no sense. Later on, when I got saved, it made perfect sense. Galatians 2:20, right? I am crucified with Messiah. It is no longer I who live, but Messiah who will now live in me. And the life that I now live from now on in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of Yahuwah, who loved me and gave himself for me. So I'm going to keep living, but I'm the old Moshe is dead. He's going to take his sword, put me to death so that I have a new life. And the life that I will have in the flesh is a life of faith in the Son of Yahuwah who loved me and gave himself for me. That's the way I interpreted my own dream. But I was not capable of that interpretation until I reached a certain level of understanding or maturity. But
So
it made
what you're
perfect
saying
sense.
is you encapsulated yesterday's sermon topic, which is Mashiach
In you.
in you.
Colossians 1:27.
Mashiach in you
Your hope.
of kavod.
Or your guarantee, not hope. Like
That's right.
when the word uses the word hope, it's guarantee. See,
That's
you've heard
right.
me say this many times. Maybe yes, maybe no. Others have. I didn't come to this for religious experience. I didn't come to this to have hope, faith, or love. Sorry, I'm a New Yorker. I came for a guarantee. Is there some being that can guarantee that I can cheat the Undertaker? And I met that Yahuwah. I met that Yahusha.
That's
I
right.
don't need to be arrogant and bold. I'm just bold, okay? Not I try not to be arrogant, and I appreciate everything he's done for me. But I came to him for a guarantee. So when the word, I want everybody to understand this. When the word talks about hope, it's not hope in a Hallmark card.
That's right. That's not the right kind of hope. That's wishing.
I hope you get Easter chocolate.
Yeah, that's not the same.
I hope you get chocolate for Easter. No, the hope in Scripture is, dude. You want a guarantee? Come into salt. Come into covenant. Come into salt covenant. Mark chapter 9. Be in shalom with all men, and in all things live in salt covenants. He offered me a salt covenant, Apostle Peter, and I couldn't say no.
Couldn't say no.
You can't guarantee diddly squat. You can't even guarantee that the toilet's going to work when this broadcast is over. Okay,
That's right. And my
I
toilet,
came
I
for a
gotta turn it off and
guarantee
on.
by the Creator of heaven and earth and the Sharif and Sheriff of all the heaven and earth, because the earth is Yahuwah's and the fullness thereof.
Come on now.
Psalm 24, verse 1. It's there.
Come on now.
I came for a guarantee, not for religion.
Come on.
If you need Yahusha, you need a guarantee.
All right. Now let's talk about the upcoming alliance, because if you start preaching, we'll be here another hour.
Oh man.
Man, I gotta slow you down just a wee bit.
Please
Because we
do.
got a gathering of our brethren, and we got special things that we're going to talk about there.
Let me
We're
put
going
it
to
up
talk
while you're
about,
talking.
yes,
Sorry.
we're going to, for those that are involved in the work of the ministry, there's a tremendous amount of resource that's now being released. There's some very exciting things that are coming in for the remnant in support. The Alliance is not just a paper tiger. It is here to be a true connecting point and a support. Part of my commitment, a personal commitment as Yahuwah's servant, as a servant and disciple of Mashiach, is not only to love my brethren, but to find ways to be of service to them as Mashiach Sholiach does. And so we really, really are excited about the first annual mid-year assembly, which will be right at the day after Shavuot. So it's Shavuot week. So it's a whole week. We're going to be just together for that week, really. But on this particular day, we're going to do, on the 16th day of the third month, a special mid-year assembly that will you need to sign up for this. So if you're not a part of the Alliance, you need to get involved in the Alliance. And we're going to be talking about a lot of different elements that are part of New Kingdom and part of the remnant, the Alliance of Remnant Ministries, part of Yati. What we're doing, why it matters that you are connecting at this time, why there are apostles at the gates, and what resources are being brought to bear. And that's important because, again, I just want to say this very quickly. In the kingdom, and again, a full ecosystem experience, you don't just have kingdom society, which is where you have the preaching and the big sales and the family. You also have kingdom technology. You also have kingdom military. Okay. You also have kingdom communication, which we're trying to improve, as you can see. All right. And then lastly, you have kingdom economy. Kingdom economy. And these are all parts of the ecosystem, if you will. Interestingly, 5 that make up a society. If you can't have a society without these elements, these verticals, if you will. And these are all elements that Yahuwah is addressing. So he's not just a man of war, he's also the best businessman. He's also the best farmer. He's also the best builder. He's also the best at planning, at designing. He's also the most amazing technician. He told me something electrically, taught me something, and said it in one sentence. And I struggled to believe what he said. And I struggled because I was like, what he said was so incredible that I was like, wow, is that true? And sure enough, I proved it to be true. Since then, more have come out and proved it. But the point is that Yahuwah gives light to your mind and understanding for a reason. And it's never to be selfish or to invert to yourself or to your own purpose, but for your brethren. So this conference that is coming up, I am so passionate about these things. I'm so grateful for my brother Moshe's promotion of this. This is an empowerment conference. This is meant to empower you going forward with new resources, new tools, new connections, new relationships, new networks,
new friendships.
okay? New friendships. Things that you did. How many have ever said, boy, I could really use a good mechanic? How many have ever said that? Have you ever said I could really use a good mechanic, right? And you find a guy and you go, man, he's a great mechanic. You won't leave that guy no matter what. Why? He's valuable to you. When your car goes down, you know how much that costs you. So you know a value of a good mechanic. Okay? We've all been there. Well, that's how you're going to feel about the people you meet in the alliance. You're going to say, man, am I glad I met this vessel and this vessel. And boy, look at the talent this one has. And look at the gifts that one has. And we're coming together.
Yes.
We're going to be bringing these talents and gifts and anointings together.
Houses of
y'all better get out the way because y'all never be able to compete with these guys.
Houses that host the true Yahusha are coming together. Not synagogues, not storefronts, not warehouses, not crystal palaces, not crystal cathedrals. No, the houses are united.
And if there's one thing you'll notice about the Sholiach anointing, you'll see it consistently. We are oversharers. We will literally empty our house to give you blessings and barakah. We will empty everything we know to tell you what you need to know. That's our knife. That's why we're here. So we don't hold anything. It's our joy, our delight to come and share some new things with you. I have so many things to tell you.
That's a key right there. We don't hold stuff back. No. An apostle will not, like an evangelist, there's a similar fountain there. It's a similar fountain. Will not hold back. And if it means he's not invited back, and believe me, there were more churches where I was not invited back, Peter. Can you relate?
Yes. Yes.
But guess what table I was never kicked out of? The Pesach. Right. The Master's Eternal Shulchan Urach.
That's right.
Long table of the Passover that never ends. Because once you're at his table, he doesn't kick you out. And that conference that you're saying, and what you're saying is right on and so important, but the relationships. Some of the knowledge, you may not retain some of the knowledge, but you will retain those relationships.
Now, he did not say that the glory of the latter temple or the glory of the latter synagogue or the glory of the latter denomination or the glory of the latter political movement. He said the glory, the kavod of the latter house shall be greater than the former. I believe we're coming into the kavod of the latter house.
Yes.
And I'm
So,
not going to tell you too much, but I will tell you that if you would go and pay money to business conferences, if you're that type of person that says, man, I love the value of good quality information, well, this is going to be a notch higher than that. So that just hopefully gives you, even from a practical standpoint, a really good reason to sign up and connect
yeah.
with the Alliance
And
of Remnant Ministries.
I'm gonna tell you something. There's a lot of people who, I feel just led to read the number. Call Apostle Peter and say, I want to register for the conference. I want to sign up. I want to bring my
And
elders.
be Jewish, because if you think I'm going to jun and race after you, you're not Hebrew enough. How many times do you got to ask in Hebrew culture?
Right. But the thing is that right. But the thing is that if you're operating a home group, a home fellowship, okay, there are people of like mind. There are people that are here to encourage you. We don't take or give. We take what Yahuwah gives us, but we're here to give as much as possible. So I'm going to read the number, and I know there are people out there who have been thinking about joining, and we're not asking you to move furniture. We're asking you to come to a Zoom meeting where you're going to have a vision, where we're going to discuss things you want to discuss. Okay.
Right.
So the number to call to register for the conference or to get more information, it'll come up in a second here. And the ticker on the bottom, and it's area code. See, the ticker is, I'm a little faster than the ticker.
612-564-2777.
That's easy.
612-564-2777. One more time, ladies and gentlemen, back there in my radio voice.
There you go.
612-564-2777.
And you will find us to be Yahusha's followers who, above and beyond the knowledge that he's imparted to the apostles at the gates, is the love for the brethren. And
yes.
you know me, I'm too honest. Like when I did that video yesterday, I was out. I didn't want to do that. If I don't want to be here, I'll tell you. That's the kind of guy. I mean, if I don't want to be here, I'm going to say, listen, guys, give me a break. I'll see you next week. But I am looking forward to that. And that day is Shavuot, because that's the day Yahuwah called Moshe back up the mountain to give him
the mountain. So this is exciting for us because we get to recount this stuff. And guys, I don't know about you, but every year, how is that possible? That every year we learn new things. How is it possible? I don't know, because we are crazy students. I mean, we dig, and yet we still come up with new things every year. It's just amazing. I love it. It's just so exciting.
And today is the 16th day of the counting of the Blessed Omer.
Yes.
And remember, I was saying people are going to get pregnant, people are going to get blessed financially, people are going to have relationships healed, because it's a time of fertility, right? Not Easter fertility, but Torah fertility, right? So you remember, and I got a report from our brothers in Brazil, one of the couples who are part of our worship team. You may have seen them, the Colodros. He says, Sholiach, my wife is pregnant. So right away, the Blessed Omer is blessed. It's not just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, we're in a season of spiritual.
I have some more that I will share in the conference.
We're in a season of sowing spiritual fertility. So this is a very good time to sow, and others will be reaping. That's true.
Yes.
But it's a good time for both.
Yes, I'm going to be sharing some things. I know Sholek's got a bunch coming up. We're out of time, but I'm going to be sharing some things at this conference with those who attend. And this is, again, for those who are part of the Alliance of Remnant Ministries and part of our commitment. Again, one of the areas that we continue to do work is those 5 areas. So I really hope you take the hint, the giant boulder-sized hint, that signing up or participating is really in your best interest.
Peter, can I try the radio voice? Because I also have a background in radio. I have a background in radio, and I used to do the New York Roller Derby show in New York. You think I'm kidding? I had a partner named Fred Myrick from Harlem, black guy, who loved hockey, and he loved roller derby.
Mhm.
and we did the New York roller derby show. So now I'm going to practice my old roller derby voice. Okay, because you did a good job. I don't think I can top you, but I'm going to give it a shot. All
Oh,
right.
jeez, come on, man.
More information, call, and to find real friends, more important, call 612-564-2777. Again, that number is 612-564-2727. Again, friends, that number. How am I doing, Peter? How,
Pretty
how am I
good.
doing?
You're pretty good. These New Yorkers, I tell you, these New Yorkers, what a character, huh?
But you're right. But you're right. When you said that radio voice, that's a little bit of a training, and that shows your background.
That's where I started. I started that drive home, and
Oh,
and
but
the
by the
radio
way,
came to
can I
me.
show you one reason? And
Mhm.
we'll end with this. We don't even have to come back after this. Watch this. Can I just share one as we close? One reason, and we will close, and I'll put it up on the screen. Why I believe Yahuwah spared my life. My arteries were 95% clogged. I was a dead man walking. Okay, let me show you one of the. Yeah, sure. To elongate and propagate the Besorah through me, that I would have the benefits of being. He'll do it through others when I'm gone, but just to give me a little bit more kingdom fruit. And this is one of the reasons he spared my, not the only reason, but one of the reasons. Okay, so we can sign off now if you'll allow me to put this on the screen. All right. And we love
Oh
you,
my
Peter
goodness,
Martinez, the House of Martinez, and
love
everyone.
you.
Please pick up the phone. We'll talk to you today. And shalom. There you go.
There you go.
I was baptized for the first time in the true name. Baruch Hashem Yahuwah. Thank you, Apostle Peter.
Praise Yah, because He is the shield against all human swords. He protects and defends His people from the conquerors. Even the fathers of this generation cling to Yah, the Almighty. Let all the nations from this generation come to Yah while there's time. Even the fathers of this generation cling to Yah, the Almighty. Let all the nations from this generation come to Yah while there's time. Praise Yahuwah, because He is the shield against all human swords. He protects and defends His people from the conquerors. Let all the nations from this generation come to Yah while there's time. Even the fathers of this generation